If you're doing your test at Hendon or Mill Hill, the apex corner tends to be the one that most people talk about, but the Mill Hill Circus, although it did feature on another video that I've done, is possibly harder. And the reason why it's harder is because although it doesn't have a complex entrance, which the apex corner does, because if you're turning right third exit onto the apex corner from a particular entrance, there is no traffic light, in which case you've got to cross the gap. The apex corner is a spiral roundabout, so it keeps things relatively simple, whereas the Mill Hill Circus roundabout is sort of 3 rings, which requires you to change lanes. And there is a lot of grey area surrounding this particular roundabout. There's what you should try to do, and then there's what might happen, in which case you could get away with it. So I'm going to show you what you can get away with and why you have to be extra careful not to make a massive mistake. So this is really busy. It's not that often that you turn right third exit, I think, back into Mill Hill from this particular direction, but it does highlight the difficulty that you can face taking this turn. So I'm turning right here. Now I'm going to pick the right hand lane because that's what it's telling me to do, and I'm going to come around the roundabout past the first exit. That's the second exit ahead. At this point here, I've got to try and get across to the middle, so I'm going to put my mirrors, I do my mirrors, and I put my signal on, and I managed to get across to at least the middle in order to exit. And I can exit from the middle lane down here because it's just very difficult to get across into that left-hand position, which would be the ideal position to exit. Now, I should also be acutely aware of vehicles on my right-hand side might be trying to exit where I'm trying to go to. So at the moment, there's no massive build-up of traffic behind me, so it's not too difficult for me. Make sure my signal stays on. I've got a van here now. No, he's gone that way, and you can see, don't know what just happened back there, but somebody was not happy. And that's how I would turn right third exit. It's that last minute lane change, which I have to do. So my awareness on my left hand side has to be really, really good. If you're getting any value out of this video, hit the like button because it really does help the channel to grow. Really do appreciate it. Now, if I can spin the car around, I can come back to it from a particular direction that you can face when it comes to a Mill Hill test route. Now I'm going to follow the road ahead, second exit. I kind of want to be in the left-hand position here because I'm going to be following the road ahead to lead me across into the left-hand lane. Now I can see a sort of direct path there. That's all nice and clear on that side. Not sure where that bus is going. And it says keep clear. So I've now been caught out. I'm in the middle of a keep clear on this roundabout, making it very difficult for you to get across. And I exit, signal left, and I've got through. But if I did that on my test, that in itself could lead to difficulty. So we're going to do that again. We're going to see if we can do that properly. Again, following the road ahead to the second exit. Now, the issue that you've got following the road ahead to the second exit on this particular roundabout is the huge keep clear signs. Can you see the lines here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and stay as close to that as possible because I'm not going up the dual carriageway. I'm going to be going ahead to that second exit down there. But I've got to get across these keep clears. Now I think it just makes sense to aim for that middle lane because the keep clear goes right up. There's literally just space for one car, which is not a lot of room. So I get across this gap. Now I do have the option here, what people are doing, I could get across into it. So because I can do that, I'm going to move across into this lane here, but I could have stayed behind this red car here. And that would have been okay because I can exit from the middle lane on this particular roundabout, provided I'm not interfering with anybody in this particular lane that I'm in right now. So that works.
A few moments later.
So it's almost like the middle lane would be the easiest option. This roundabout is nasty. Because the other thing is, if I take this left-hand lane and I can't fit the other side, well, I'm going to just be blocking the vehicle. So this vehicle behind me now cannot turn left. And I want to go ahead. So I'm not signaling left. So if this vehicle behind me wants to turn left, they're going to have to wait until those lights change and I can get across. But now I've got the problem of vehicles coming from the right-hand side, which makes it almost impossible. Well, I can't go now, so if those lights change, I can't move. Now those lights change. Is there going to be a build-up of traffic on this side here that's going to make it impossible for me to get across that keep clear? I just can't see how you're going to do that. So it's empty now, but is it going to fill up? If it fills up, I'm in trouble. So there's a red light. There's one car now that's filled that gap. So we've got an option. I'm going to take it. I've got to get across, make sure no one takes my position. He's taken my position, which has now stranded me slightly on the keep clear. This is a very difficult roundabout. I would expect the examiner to take that into consideration, because if you sit there for too long, you're just blocking anybody from turning left, which is going to be a massive hindrance. I mean, there's a red car behind me now, red driving school car that's behind me that also was on the keep clear. It's just, I think it's virtually impossible to avoid it on this particular roundabout. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and speak to an examiner about that, because I want to know how they would perceive that. If the road structure makes it virtually impossible for you to be able to take the turn, then whose fault's that? Certainly not yours. You're dealing with a very, very poor system of road. Now, technically, I can turn right there. That's going to be fun. Watch me do this. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to be turning right third exit on this roundabout. Now, right third exit from this particular entrance also poses a major difficulty, because it is not easy to get across into that left-hand position, which means quite possibly I might be in the middle. And if I am in the middle, I guess the same rule applies when I'm exiting this roundabout here from this side, because it's very difficult to get into the left-hand lane. So there's only space for one car. If there's a vehicle there, I'm going to have to take the middle. Now let's have a look at this. I'm going to put my signal on. I'm going to see if I can get to the middle. I can get to the middle. I can now exit from the middle, and I make it through. You have got to be on your toes for this particular roundabout. If you're not on your toes, if you're not looking and checking your mirrors, if you're not used to changing position at the last second, you are going to struggle on that one. That is an incredibly difficult roundabout. That makes the apex corner seem like a piece of cake. The apex corner has structure, but that one doesn't. I said that this was going to be a Mill Hill Circus tutorial, but I have struggled to do that following the rules. And if that particular roundabout from those particular exits is on a Mill Hill test route, that makes Mill Hill quite an interesting place to do your driving test.
So the one bit of good news is you will not be turning right third exit from Watford Way into the Broadway, or from Watford Way into Lawrence Street, as neither of these are on an official DVSA test route for now, as they do chop and change quite regularly. However, if you go wrong on the sat-nav, you could easily be doing one of these two directions.
I'm going to go and have a discussion with the examiners and see if I can get to the bottom of this, because I want to find out how they would perceive certain situations. If you get caught in the keep clear and it's just not your fault, like that car just nipped in front of me, I had nowhere to go. I'd already committed, I was already in. If you are doing your test at Mill Hill, I strongly recommend that you do a lot of practice on this particular roundabout, because it ain't easy. It ain't easy at all.
A few moments later.
So I've just spoken to the test centre manager at Mill Hill, and the takeaway is grey area. There is so much grey area when it comes to roundabouts like that. You've got to assess things in the safest possible way.
How an examiner would have perceived me following the road ahead to the second exit, trying to dodge the keep clears, would be something like this. On the first attempt, I didn't really assess the traffic up ahead properly and kind of dived in, ending up on the keep clear. However, all this traffic on my right hand side was shielding me, so this is very likely to just be a driver fault because I wasn't blocking the traffic. With my second attempt of following the road ahead and the vehicle driving across into my path, this is not my fault at all, and is likely would not have even been assessed as a driving fault. However, failure to assess the traffic build-up at this traffic light up ahead without a shield in a different circumstance could easily lead to a serious or potentially a dangerous fault. Be very careful.
There is always grey area in driving, and things will be assessed based upon the circumstances surrounding whatever's happened. So what this means is if you have a junction like that on a test route in your area, you need to practice being able to assess things properly, change your decision if need be. And as the examiner that I just spoke to says, it's there that the examiners earn their money. And what he means by that is they've got to really assess things. It's not black or white, it's grey, and it's full of grey. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the Apex Corner Roundabout, well then that tutorial is over here. And if you'd like to learn how to enter a busy roundabout, well that video is over here. If this video has been of value to you, then obviously hit the like button, subscribe if you like more content. I'll see you in the next one. Get well out.